to Middle East, the head of Israel's Mossad intelligence agency has said Israel must ensure Iran never revives its nuclear program, 6 months after Israeli and U.S. strikes hit Iranian nuclear facilities during a brief but intense war. Speaking at an award ceremony in Jerusalem on Tuesday, Mossad chief David Barnea said Iran's nuclear project had been gravely damaged and stressed that Israel, in close coordination with the United States, bears responsibility for preventing its reactivation. Barnea, whose term ends in June 2026, said Iran's leadership remains determined to pursue nuclear weapons despite the setbacks, which Iran denies. He praised Israel's surprise opening strikes in the 12-day conflict, claiming they exposed the depth of Israeli intelligence penetration inside of Iran. Barnea also expressed strong skepticism about diplomacy with Tehran, warning against what he described as a bad nuclear deal. Western powers have long accused Iran of seeking nuclear weapons, a claim Tehran consistently denies. Current U.S. President Donald Trump withdrew from the 2015 nuclear agreement during his first term, a deal Israel has opposed. Iran and the United States resumed talks in April, mediated by Oman, but negotiations collapsed after Israel launched its attack on June 13 this year, prompting U.S. strikes on 3 Iranian nuclear sites. While President Trump has said Iran's program was obliterated, the Pentagon estimates the strikes delayed it by 1 to 2 years. Iran's supreme leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei has dismissed these claims that the program was destroyed. Let's listen in.
הרעיון להמשיך לפתח פצצת גרעין עדיין מפעם בליבם. לנו אחריות לוודא שפרויקט הגרעין, אשר נפגע אנושות בשיתוף פעולה הדוק עם האמריקאים, לא יופעל לעולם.
Now for this discussion, we welcome Mr. Peter Baum. He's an editor at Weekly Blitz, joins us live from London. Thank you very much, Mr. Baum, for joining us again. Good to see you. Now, looking at this, what are the political risks and benefit of Israel and the United States now prioritizing preemptive strikes over negotiated nuclear agreements with Iran?
Good morning to you.
Good morning.
Thank you for having me again. Pleasure to be here.
Thank you.
I don't think there are any political risks, and what we have seen here is a coordinated and, to date, a very successful campaign to further isolate Iran than she's already isolated. What I mean by that is we've seen what President Trump is doing with Venezuela, Iran's major ally in the Americas. We've seen the pressure that is being put on Lebanon to disarm Hezbollah. In fact, the Israelis have decided to pause attacks on Hezbollah whilst the Lebanese army enacts some demilitarization. Iran is isolated from the Houthis because of the way that the Houthis have suffered and because of the way the United Arab Emirates are now imposing their will on the area. So this campaign, this statement by David Barnea, is totally in line with what one would expect from the anti-Iranian powers to continue pressuring Iran. We've seen the the European nations do it with sanctions. Added to all this, Iran is suffering economically from various causes. The Iranian rial, I read today, is at an all-time low, 1,130,000 reals to $1 US. It's absolutely worthless. The lack of rain is putting tremendous pressure on Iranian society in the major cities. And Barnea knows that Iran, because of the loss of personnel engaged formally in the nuclear bomb creation, and the way that the Israelis and Americans destroyed the various reactors, David Barnea, as head of Mossad, knows that Iran currently is in no position to recreate what she had created in previous years. And this is just another weapon the statements made from Barnea of being head of Mossad to continue the political pressure on Iran and to isolate it even further. I think we will continue to see statements like this from the Trump administration, perhaps a softer tone from the European nations, but it's all designed to pressure Iran politically, which at the moment seems to be working quite successfully.
Right. And how does Israel's emphasis on preventing any revival of Iran's nuclear program, how do you think this is affecting the balance between military action and diplomacy in regional security policy towards Iran at this time?
Yeah, the regional security policy is really designed, firstly, to isolate Iran, secondly, to dilute Iran's ability to provide weaponry and funding to its proxies, such as the Houthis, Hezbollah and Hamas, and thirdly, to ensure that if Israel believes that she is not achieving that goal, then she will go in militarily and bomb Hezbollah, as we've seen, to continue the military campaign against Hamas, as we've seen. The Houthis have been particularly quiet, and this is because I don't think the world's media realizes how severe a blow the Houthis were dealt from the various bombings of its ports and its infrastructure, and of course the climatic conditions in Yemen, which aren't helping at all. So in terms of the regional policy, I think we will continue to see pressure mounting, as I've just suggested, politically, militarily, economically, on Iran and on her proxies in the area. That will be the regional policy of the Trump administration and Israel and those supporting Trump and Israel.
With that, I would like to thank Mr. Peter Baum for joining us today and sharing that insight with us on News Express.